Okay, it looks like we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesdays with MrTieDye. I am your host, MrTieDye. So, I had some more inspirations, ideas, and stuff came to me. Part of it started within answering one of the comments or questions somebody asked on the Sun Tapestry. So today I'm going to dye another Sun Tapestry. This will be Sun Tap number 4. But this one I'm going to do an Incline ice dye on it, and I'm going to not put the big long spikes on, but I did have another way. Instead of tying just a round circle, I'm going to tie a wavy one. I'll show you how I'm planning that out. And then the other thing, I've had a bunch of people ask about color mixing, and I don't have any kind of a chart. I just kind of mix colors on the fly, and what I usually do is I start with one of these small bottles, and then if you need to keep track of your proportions, I'll make little lines on here so I kind of know how much, so that when I want to transfer and go to a bigger bottle, I can do that. But after we're done getting the ice and dye put on this tapestry, then I'm going to break out a t-shirt, tie it up, and then we're going to mix a bunch of colors and see what we can come up with here.
We do a sound check
so
they can hear you.
Can everybody hear me here? I just want to check my volume here, make sure everybody's hearing me okay. So if you guys can respond, answer back.
In chat.
Yep. Okay, they can hear me. So, okay, so we're going to get started, but the first thing, what I usually do is open up with my auction. So last week I tied up a crop circle tie-dye. It was one that came to me in a vision, dream, meditation, however you guys want to look at it, but I thought it turned out pretty cool. We had a little bit of help from the universe on this one. When I was dyeing it up, I originally intended to make this line, or no, this line here solid, these lines that went out to the side, but as I was dyeing it I forgot. But then I do kind of like this better with just a little bit of a separation. So anyway, so this here is the crop circle tapestry, and it'll be the first one up for bid. You guys can just place those bids in the comment section. You guys know how to do that. So, and then at some point later, I'll go ahead and close this out, and then we'll open up the bidding on the Sun Tap. So, okay, good deal. Everybody's hearing me loud and clear. So the bidding is now officially open on the crop circle tapestry, and we're going to get started tying up Sun Tap number 4. So let's see. First, let's see who we have in the chat room here. We got a bunch of people. Some people have signed in early. So I see Alan and Kevin and Kirsten. Let's see. I think I said Kevin, Rhonda, Eric, Danielle, Beck Ratfi. I'm sorry. Hello from Colorado. Good to see you. Have you here. Allison, Emily, Valerie, Dog Universe, Don Dempster, Jane, Cody. All right, so we got a full crowd. Looks like we have 39 people watching at this point. And first bid opened up at 50. Then Annie bid in at 55 for the the crop circle tapestry. Okay, so we're going to get going here. So what I have is a tapestry that's been soaked in soda ash. It's been spun out so it's barely damp. That's my preferred method for tying and dyeing the tapestries. Although usually when I do an ice dye, I let them dry, but on live videos I can't do that, so we're just going to go for it. So I folded this in half and then in quarters, and the main reason I do that is so that I can find my center point of my tapestry. Because from that center point is where we're going to draw our other lines on. So we're going to open this up. So once again, this here also helps me keep track of where the middle of my tapestry is, because if you start working from the edge here, then you're going to have 2 half suns instead of a full sun. So you always want to make sure that when you're doing your folding, the center of the tapestry is right in the middle. It should be the point when you do the airplane folds. So I'm going to find my handy dandy protractor here, and I'm going to make a line on here at 60 degrees. That will allow me to fold this into thirds. So, and the way that I find easiest for drawing my, oh no, we're not drawing a circle on yet. I'm all distracted. I need my yardstick, and of course I didn't bring it, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'll try to slow down and just stick with what I have going on. Let's see. Somebody's having issues with choppy. Oh, well, now I'm scrolling down here. I haven't had any issues with my feed looking choppy, so you might want to reset things and maybe you'll get a better connection. Okay. See if we can get things settled here. Okay, so we start out by making our 60-degree mark here, so I'm just going to extend that out a little bit so that I can fold this into thirds. And these are my washable markers. I use Crayola brand or Crazy Art, and those seem to work the best for me. I keep bumping my mouse and opening other windows up. Oh, well, what did we have happen there? Well, something's going on. Okay, we'll leave that sit, see if it'll stay. Okay, we got a bid from Gwen at $60 on the crop circle tapestry. Thank you, Gwen. Well, thank you everybody for bidding, and everybody who's joining me here on their Wednesdays. This here has become, I think, my favorite day of the week, just because I get to hang out and tie-dye tapestries. Okay, so there's my first 60-degree line there. And what I'm going to do now is take one of these edges. Like I say, this here is the center of my tapestry here. I folded it in half. So I'm going to take this edge and line it up right there. So I usually will just put my, put my finger right here to hold that center dot. And then I lay this down right along that line and just kind of smooth things out until I get it just how I want it. And then you can smooth the rest of the tapestry out. And then you just pick up this other edge here and fold it over to the other edge. And then sometimes it's easier if you just pick the whole thing up and you can kind of shake it to get everything lined up just the way you need it. So once I have that, then I usually will kind of feel to make sure if I have any creases in here. You can usually feel those if you have little creases or wrinkles, so I try to smooth those out. And then we'll turn this around. Now this is where we're going to draw the circle on. And like I say, the easiest way that I find to draw the circle or partial circle on is to tie a little slip knot and then just attach that right to your pin. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to draw my initial circle on, but that's not going to be my actual fold line in this case, because I had just a little bit of a vision come to me for a different way of putting some interesting parts in to increase the wrinkles or whatever that I get for doing the incline die. So I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. So I'm going to measure this out. here and draw my partial circle on. But like I say, I'm not going to fold that line. The line I am going to fold is this one here. And what I'm going to do, and this, like I say, came to me in a dream. I'm not sure just how this is going to work, so you guys are going to see this live as I figure this out. So I just have a half circle that I just cut out of a piece of plastic here. Oh, and my thing doesn't seem to be forwarding. I need to catch back up with the live video. There we go. And let's see. I'm going to answer some questions here. All right, glad you figured that out, Don. Yes, put me up on the big screen. Looks like an airplane fold. Yep, airplane fold to start. See, do you have a tutorial for the shirt that you are wearing? Yes, this one here is called the Quantum Scrunch, and I do have a video for Quantum Scrunch, and I have one for the Quantum V. So you can find both of those on my channel. Okay, so I have this little half circle here, and what I'm going to do is draw some extra lines on. These are going to be my actual fold lines. This was what I saw in my dream. So I'm just going to follow with my inspiration and see what we come up with. So, and I'm just kind of lining this up just kind of haphazardly right at my creases here. I mean, along this line that I drew on, just to see what I can get. So this here is just going to change the outer edge of the sun to be just kind of a ripply looking design here. And since I'm doing an incline die, that's just going to add to the effect. So I don't know what I spilled over here, but let me clean this up a little bit before I track stuff through it. Okay, let's get that out of the way. That out of the way. I think I must have spilled something and it ran under my table, and now I getting other things all tied up here. Okay. So I don't know how this is going to work here. Like I say, sometimes I have some crazy visions, and sometimes you just have to follow along with them. And let's see. I'm dying of baseball caps watching this. Awesome. Yep, baseball caps, I tend to just kind of scrunch up the back part and then I drip dye on the bills. But yes, that's awesome. Looks like a sine wave. Yep, that would be my sine wave, but usually sine wave is on a straight line instead of a curvy line, but we're going to go for this and just see what happens with it. So I'm just going to do just a regular accordion fold now that I have this crazy line on, and that's why I drew my line, this line in a different color so that I can see my blue line easier. So, okay, the way that I drew the blue lines on, somebody just tuned back in. So I drew my initial line on with my string. I just held that out, drew it on, and then I lined, well, my other one, my smaller circle. So I just have a plastic cutout for my circle here, and I just lined that up right here along this line, and then I flipped it over this way, and I just went back and forth to draw this curvy wavy line on. And the reason for the curvy wavy line is it just showed up in my dream, so, or my meditation, so that's what we're going to do. Okay. So we're just going to start folding this now. And I'm doing smaller folds because I have these curves to go around. And let's see. I think we still have a high bid from Gwen at 60. Let me make a mark here. So I can keep track of the bids. And then we're just going to fold back and forth here on this line, up and below the circle line that I drew. So how's everybody's day going? Oh, I guess I'm not current on the chat. It scrolled up without me. So let me catch up here. Topping down here, very welcome. Okay. Hey, Chelsea. Good to see you here. Sorry, I'm doing a live video right now, so you'll have to call me back. Made Ned watch the Harry Potter. His day's going good. Awesome. Just got back from testing for the virus. Results in 45 days. Hoping sooner. Yes, that would be nice. I haven't seen anybody else that got tested, so it's nice to know somebody who's actually getting tested. I think there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes it's hard to know just what is true and what's not true. But those are the times that we're living in right now, but I have a feeling that's all going to shift, and we're going to get through this, and it's going to be a whole different world for us. Okay, so these little sine wave curves, I'm getting them nailed down here. Like I said, I'm folding just a little bit shorter of a pleat than what I normally would, but mostly it's just because I need to go through all these little curves here. But we're going to get this tied up, and then I'll start getting some dye put on it. Good day in Seattle. Nice to hear. Perfect idea. Have video on my computer so I can chat and video on my TV and watch. Oh, yes, that's awesome. Put it up on the big screen, and then you can chat on the computer without interfering with stuff. Baked salmon for lunch. Ooh, I love baked salmon. I used to go to a bunch of powwows when I lived in Eastern Oregon, and they would bake the salmon up, wrap it in tin foil with onions and lemon, and just put it right in the coals of the fire. Ooh, that was some good salmon. Let's see, rainy Wednesday in Tennessee. Let's see, we had rain the last few days, but right now it's just overcast here in Oregon. So, not too bad of a temperature out there. Let's see. Cold and rainy here in Missouri. Perfect for napping. Yes, I agree. Maybe it'll stop raining when you wake up. Tabitha, finally made it. Glad to see you here. Yeah, I still haven't gotten a different day or time slotted for doing a video, but one of these days I'll surprise you guys and have a different day up, but I'll still be doing the Wednesdays. I just want to add another one in at a different time for some of these people. So, hey from Arkansas. First sunny day here in a week for Michigan. It's been pouring outside. That's awesome. Yes, we've had some rain, not pouring. We had a few times where it poured, but most of the time it was just a constant rain here in Oregon. Cold with thunder and lightning here. Oh, I love watching lightning. I'll be right back off to do the dishes. They got to be done at some point, so I'll be here for a while between doing the incline dye and then we're going to do color mixing, so plenty of time to come back. Hot and steamy in Mississippi. Yeah, I get down there in the south, you guys have a little bit more humidity in the air and it warms up, and I've been to Florida before and it was extremely hot and humid there. So, oh, and for me, I have my parents, they're having their 60th wedding anniversary today. So, just in case my mom and dad are watching me right now, I want to give a little shout out. Happy anniversary. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me all of these years with my visions and dreams. So the rest of this sun here, I'm just going to kind of accordion fold it up a little bit. But the curviness to it puts some little bit of extra little wavy lines. So I'm not sure how that's going to look in the incline dye, but I wanted something a little bit different. If you do just a straight fold, then you have straight pleats and you get a lot of darts that go down, and I kind of want a little of that but not exactly that, so that's why I did the extra little lines in here, and you can already see that this here is not a nice even set of pleats here. So, oh yes, lots of happy anniversaries to my parents. Thank you guys. if anybody they're watching, then they'll enjoy this. I don't think they'll chat in the chat box, but they might be watching right now. So thank you guys. But yeah, 60 years today. Okay, now I'm going to finish tying this sun up here. Nice thing about the kite string is you can start tying it up and then fix more of your folds and then tie it some more. And this last part, I think I'm going to scrunch the center of the sun just a little bit, just for something different. Yeah, lots of happy anniversaries. Thank you guys. Okay, and I think we still have, we have a $60 bid still from Gwen on the, let me scroll back just to verify. I don't see any other bids. So yeah, we had Gwen, $60 on the crop circle tapestry. So, all right, now the rest of this tapestry, I'm going to tie up just a few of these pleats, and then I'm going to scrunch the rest of the tapestry up. Okay. Okay, so that one is from my lady, Julie. She's got my iPad in the back room, and she's watching this, and she just typed, but because it's my iPad, it comes up as MrTieDye. So thank you, baby. I love you, too. Reveals are my favorite part. Love seeing how it goes from a plain white piece of fabric into a beautiful piece of artwork. I can't wait to see how this tapestry comes out. I agree entirely, and that's why I call it Hippie Christmas, because it's like opening a brand new present. And the nice part is you're the one who created the present. So yes, when these are all batched, usually I think Fridays is when I wash out my Wednesday tapestries. So unless something comes up, I'll be washing this one out on Friday, and I'll get up a reveal video as soon as I can. Like I say, today I'm just going to be tying one tapestry, and then I'm going to do one t-shirt. And the t-shirt, I'll probably do a wild spiral on it, because I'm going to do some color mixing just kind of on the fly, because I don't have a chart on how I do it. I just mix them up as I need them. So people expressed interest in my process for mixing them, so I decided to add that into this live video here. And then what I usually do when I'm mixing dyes is drop onto a piece of paper towel so I can kind of get an idea. Well, what I'm going to do for this video is every color I mix up, I'll put a drop on here, I'll put it on the t-shirt, and then when I do the reveal of the t-shirt later, I'll compare it to the paper towel and see just how close those drops are. So, oh, Tina, glad to see you. We're doing Sun Tapestry number 4, but this one I did just a little bit differently. Instead of folding the nice arc here, I did kind of a wavy line that I folded. And this one, instead of doing a liquid dye, we're going to do an Incline ice dye on it. So you are all caught up. Oh, and the current bid on the crop circle tapestry from last Wednesday is at $60. And then the next thing I'll be doing after this is a color mixing demo. So glad you could make us. You're all caught up. Grab some popcorn and have a seat. Okay, I think we are about ready to start putting some color on this. Oh, nice timing, Leanne. So you guys both were able to get in here just in time for some of the fun. Hello, Naomi from UK. Good, you could make it. Okay, so there is the Sun Tap. Let me put my line on the back so I have an idea of where that's at. And the way that I like to continue a line to the back is just from the top, I can just make a little mark right here at the bottom. And then when I flip it over, I can see those lines and dye right along those same lines there. So, Omega Ha, new subscriber here. Oh, welcome to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. And that's not my way of looking at my analysis of my channel, and it looks like I have tons and tons of viewers who just watch but they're not subscribed. So if there's anybody out there that's not subscribed to my channel, I'm not telling you to go do it, but I'm asking you if you would go ahead and please subscribe, because it does help my channel grow and it makes things more visible if I have more subscribers. So, and then also if you want to help support the channel, that's another option. And you can click the join button and that will take you over. I have 3 sections set up right now, or 3 different rates for the members, and that's wonderful. I love all the support I could get. And in fact, I don't think it was last week, I think the week before, I actually had 5 new signups during the video, so that was kind of awesome. And I do also appreciate all the donations. I get those into my PayPal account, and that really helps things going. And just in case anybody's interested in it, let's see, I'll put my launch links in the chat box, and that has links to my PayPal donation page if anybody wants to donate just a one-time. But if you want to do an ongoing monthly, then below the video there's a join button, or also you can click right below the chat box here in the video. There's a $sign, and there's 3 different ways to support in there, whether you do a super chat, a super sticker, or you can click the join button from there also. So anyways, okay, back to what we're doing here. Let's see what we have going on. Oh, Inferno Farms made it. Nice to see you. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, those are always appreciated. The more likes I get, the more that these videos get spread out there, and when people are doing searches, they can find them easier if they've been liked and I have subscribers. Let's see, I've been wanting to do sheets for my beds, but I don't have patience to do king sheets. Well, there's 2 options. You'll either have to develop the patience to sit down and fold them, even if you do just a little bit of folding at a time and you put the project away and break it back out again, or you talk to me or one of these other lovely artists here in the chat box, and I'm sure somebody would love to make a set of tie-dye sheets for you. Why are you poking it? I use my cuticle pusher to just adjust some of the folds here. So sometimes if I see a fold that's kind of laying over top of another one, I'll use this here to kind of get in there and push those folds down inside. So it's just an extra adjustment that I'm making. And I love these cuticle pushers because they got this nice round edge, so I'm not worried about poking a hole in this. If I use this other edge where it's a little bit sharper, I might poke a hole, but this side is nice. So, but I like to make sure that if there's any folds that are laying over top of each other, I kind of get in there and poke those down, and that just helps with the whole process. Same thing with these accordion folds. Sometimes if they're not lined up perfectly, you can go in there and adjust those just by poking down inside one, or you can pinch and pull one up. So I have one of these, well actually that's a different crease there. So yeah, it's just a helpful, handy tool, and it just, if you get your things adjusted nice and perfect, then it just shows up in your results. So let's see, I've been a subscriber for a little while, first live. Nice to see you then. Thank you, Leanne. Can you show us crop circles when you have a moment, please? Yes. In fact, this is a good time to do it. So right now, Gwen has the high bid that I've seen so far, unless there's one further down. I haven't scrolled all the way down yet. But this is the crop circles from last week. So I did the 2 sets of circles with the line on there, and then in between, I had done the other line coming out, and that's the one where I could put the dark green dye, which created the extra space in here, which I kind of like that. So here's the center of the tapestry. And then also, if you click on my launch links, I do have pictures of the sun and the crop circle tapestry where you can look at the whole thing. And I'll put that down here in the chat box. So the top link there is my Wednesday Tapestries album over on Facebook. And you can click there, and the top 2 pictures is this one and the other sun tapestry. So let's see here. Mandela, how much would you charge someone? I would have to figure that. I can't decide that right here on the video, but you can send me a message through my launch links. If you want to discuss that, we can talk about that, what you want and everything, and we can decide that. I do have a bunch of orders that I'm working on, so it might be a little bit before I got to it. But yeah, you'll have to send me a message. We can discuss that. Is it really good for... I bought mine at Harbor Freight. It's really good. Okay. Thank you for helping answer questions there, Raul. Oh, yeah. Yep. If a sheet feels slippery when you're folding it, you better make sure you check the cotton content. Let's see. Goodness. Some cuticle pushers are sharper than others. Depends on the brand. Best to test them first. Yes, that's a good idea. Mine, this is the only one that I've ever bought, and mine has a nice smooth edge. But yes, before you start poking in there, you do want to make sure that it's a smooth edge. Another thing I've thought about is taking a screwdriver, a flathead, and just grinding the edges down, smoothing them off, and then that way you even have a little bit of a handle to hold with. Right now I just have the cuticle pusher, which has been working great for me. Okay. Backs of tweezers will work. Yep, if you have tweezers handy. Just main thing is just something that's sturdy and has a smooth edge on it. So, okay, so we're going to start applying some dye here after we get this wrapped up. Well, I guess I can wrap it up and then put it in there. I don't need that just yet. So the way I like to wrap up my ice dyes, I use tin foil for mine. So that's what we're going to use for this.
Your mom called and she can't get on to comment, but she wanted to say thank you for all of the lovely wishes.
Oh,
so
okay.
she asked if I would come and tell you.
Yes, I will. Okay, so my mom is watching right now, and but she's not able to get into the chat box. But she did want to thank all of you lovely people out there for all of the anniversary wishes. Very much appreciated. And that was something also, let's... I'm so distracted here. The other day I was doing another meditation, and I don't know how many of you guys saw the new tapestry that I put up. The hands one, the Rainbow Warriors Around the World. Well, anyways, I had this thought that that is a perfect name for all of you guys. You guys are my Rainbow Warriors. So, what do you guys think about that? You guys like the idea of being Rainbow Warriors? Could you guys create rainbows all around the world? So, let me know what you guys think about Rainbow Warriors as a name for the MrTieDye fans or whatever. Let's see. Love the name, love that. Okay, awesome. So, I think I'm going to just refer to all of my tie-dye fans, whether you guys are students or just lovers of my work. You guys are my Rainbow Warriors. Spread in color across the world. Okay. And I usually buy the great big roll. This here is like 200 square feet of the rental draft, or you can get the off-brand too. But I usually buy the big rolls so that because I use lots of it in these ice dyes. There's other things you can use too. I've used cardboard to wrap around mine, and then I just kind of clip it and pin it with clothespins. And I've seen people use like the baseboards or the big long shades, the blinds, but they're the sideways ones, and they come in slats about 4 inches wide, but they're like 6, 7, 8 feet long. So there's lots of different ways to wrap these up. My personal preference right now has just been the tin foil, but I haven't really done enough of the ice dyes to consider myself a professional at that yet. So this might change down the road, but for right now, I do kind of like the way the tin foil works with this. So we'll just get this wrapped up, and then we'll start getting some ice put on here, or some dye put on here. So let's see, what else we got going on? Okay. Love that name, love it, love it, love it. Okay, nice to hear. Yeah, there was just something that came to me in one of my meditations. When I figured out a name for that tapestry, then it just seemed fitting that you guys would be the Rainbow Warriors. The Rainbow Warriors come with a cape, maybe a badge, or at least a Dakota ring. Yes, you could have a Dakota ring. I don't know where we're going to get those yet from, but for me, I just wear my rainbow outfit everywhere out in the world. And, you know, as I am today, I got my rainbow pants on and my rainbow shirt, and then, of course, my rainbow hoodie. So I go out in the world and I just wear rainbow all over the place. Your lady is awesome. Oh, thank you. Yes, I think so too. Yeah, she had gotten a phone call from my parents because they were watching and they just wanted to thank everybody. So it was nice of her to come out and let me know that. Although she didn't get in camera. One of these days we're going to have to catch her on camera. You are the tribe. Oh, that's her. Anytime you see ones that say MrTieDye, most times it's probably going to be my lady back there. That's Julie. Let's see. Your lady is awesome. We definitely need a decoder. I don't leave the house without tie-dye on. Yep, me neither. I always have my tie-dyes on. Okay. Missed the crop circle to bid on. Oh, the crop circle. Okay, yeah, we'll break it out again. Also, like I say, the crop circle can be seen, if I can paste here. So the top link here, you can click on that and it takes you over to my Facebook page, and that way you can view the whole tapestry. But I'll show it again here. So unless I missed it right now, the high bid is sitting at $60. So, and this here's the crop circle that we made last time. So this here is the center, and then there's the 4 circles that go around here. And then I have the diagonal lines that I tied in there going up to the edge. Yeah, see, this just doesn't really do it justice. So this here is a quick peek at it, but you can see it better if you click on the launch links there. Okay, let me take a quick peek before we start adding dye. I think Gwen still has the high bid at 60. I guess I should write the time down than the name so that I can find it easier. Yeah, I don't see any other bids on here, so Gwen still has the high bid at 60, so if anybody else wants to get in on that, you guys still have some time. I'm going to get everything set up, and then I'll probably close the bidding for it before I actually start putting dye on, but we're going to get at least set up here. So if anybody else wants to get in on the bidding for the crop circle tapestry, now is your time. I'm going to close that out in just a couple minutes. I saw a post on Facebook the other day that said, I guess tie-dye is making a comeback. It's awesome. Yes, I don't know that tie-dye's ever gone out. I think it's just becoming larger because it's just changed so much over the years. 65 from Emily, so thank you. Hello, love your work. Almost missed the live today. Oh, glad to see you, grumpy old owl. Okay. Yep, and we're just getting started. Like I said, I folded up this Sun Tap, and now I'm going to start adding dye to this. And then I'm going to do it's going to be an incline dye. So after I get all my dyes put on, then I'm going to lift this up at an angle like this here. But for now, we're going to leave it down flat. Let's see if you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay. And I'm going to open this up a little bit more, just so you can see what I'm doing. How's that look? Okay, I think that's better. Okay. So what I have here, first off, is my dust mask. So when I get ready to actually open the dyes and put them on, I'm going to put my dust mask on. This here is a very important thing when you're doing the ice dyes, because these dust particles can get up into your nose. They're very fine particles, and sometimes you don't even know that they're there until maybe you use a wet rag and swipe across your table, and then you realize how much dye is there. So once I start putting the dyes on, I'm not going to be able to talk because I'm going to be wearing my mask. So I'm going to explain everything ahead of time. So there's that. I usually just apply my dyes with a couple spoons. So that's what these are going to be used for. And then the other thing I do is I'll use a piece of plastic if I want to kind of separate where I'm putting my dye. So I can put that down and sprinkle my dye on, and it's not going to get down further here. Let's see if I can get this in camera where you can see it. So I just use that as a guideline. And when I sprinkle my dye on, then it's not getting this way here. So you'll see that in action here soon, but that's all that is just a piece of plastic that you can cut in any shape that works for you, and then you can just move along, sprinkle your dye right up to that line. And then let's see, I got a whole bunch of dyes. So what we're going to start with, all the way up here at the point, is I'm going to start with lemon yellow. Let's put that right on lemon yellow. And then we're going to move into my daffodil, but I mixed my daffodil with, oh, I guess I mixed it with melted peep. I thought I did lemon yellow, but so anyways, the daffodil was just a little bit too gold, so I just mixed it down a little bit. And then I bought some orange sherbet. I've used it as a liquid dye and I liked it. It's just a little bit lighter in shade than my deep orange, so we're going to try that next.
A little bit lower.
And then
Go ahead.
Then I'm going to use some fire red out there. And then I think we're going to move into ultraviolet. And then I have powerberry. And then we're going to finish it off over top with some black. So I'm going to put the black over top of the ultraviolet and the powerberry over top of the ice. So the rest of these I'm going to put directly onto the tapestry. And then the ultraviolet and powerberry will go on, and then I'm going to put the black just over top of the ice. So I hope that's not too confusing there. So we're going to get started here.
Is that light too much?
No, that's fine. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. I guess I was supposed to close out the bidding, so let me move this for just a second so I can sit down and see if we had any more bids. We got Gwen at 70 for the crop circle. With work like yours, no wonder it's making a comeback. Thank you, Mary. Yes, there's a lot of talented artists out there. I just happen to be making videos, so I'm more public, but there's a lot of talented artists out there that are helping bring this art out into the mainstream. I love tie-dye. It's always fun to see how things turn out. Yes, that's what I love about Hippie Christmas. Open the tapestries or t-shirts up after you've dyed them. Do you have a video on the exact measurements of stuff you mix with your dye? No, not the exact of what I do. I have a mixing video up that shows just the basics, but when I put mix up 16 ounces of dye, I usually will do 1 heaping tablespoon, which I think is about 5 to 6 teaspoons of dye. And if I'm mixing black up, where's my black? If I'm mixing black up in the 16-ounce bottle, then I'll use 2 heaping tablespoons, which equates then to 5 to 12 teaspoons of dye. So I hope that answers your question. I'm not an exact sort of person. I do a big scoop. And then, as you'll see with my other color mixing, I just kind of mix it on the fly. I don't have a chart that I use. I just kind of mix it up and test it and go for it. Are you going to flip the other side and dye it later? Just let it soak until the dye drip dyes. I'm going to test it, check it later after all the ice has melted. I'll pick it up and check it. If the bottom looks like it still needs more dye, then I'll flip it over and add more of the same, just in the same way that I'm doing here, and more ice. But if it looks good, then I'll just leave it. And I do plan on setting up a different camera and doing a time lapse of the ice melting, and then I'll go ahead and I'll check the bottom. So that'll be another video that'll come out later in addition to this one here. This one will go live as soon, or we'll upload as soon as we're done. The other one, once I get it all processed, then I'll upload that. But that'll be the ice melting and then the checking of the bottom. And if I need to add more dye, I'll go ahead and just leave the camera run and show you what else I do with the tapestry. So hope that answers your question. And let's see what else we got going. 61 people watching. Nice. It shows 83 watching now, so it's gone up. Depends on what you want to do. Depends on what effects you want, or whether you do one side or both. Yes, there are variants. I mean, sometimes, like I say, I'm not expert at this yet. I haven't done enough of them to know the whole process. So I usually I check the bottom when I'm done, and I decide whether I'm going to add more dye or not. So eventually I'll be better at the ice dye. And I did get myself an ice shaver, so that we're going to try the shaved ice on here. And hopefully I shaved enough because the machine is awful noisy. Let's see. Yeah, I've never. I always flip my dies and dye the other side. I forgot it was. Oh, good thing you made it here, Saucy Mare. Welcome, welcome. And it's late where you're at. I know that. Okay, I think I'm just about to the bottom here. 2 teaspoons to 1 tablespoon. You're an awesome teacher. Thank you. How much urea, sodium alginate do you put in there? Urea, if I use it, I'll put 1 tablespoon. The sodium alginate, I'm not sure. I don't use it for my regular dyes too much. I used to use it, but I can't remember, because I would mix up 5 or 6 gallons of water at a time, and for that I would put 4 tablespoons. But as far as the measurement to bring it down to a 16-ounce bottle, I don't remember. But you can do the math on 6 gallons of water and 4 tablespoons of dye, or 4 tablespoons of sodium alginate, and you can do the math and figure that out if you like. Let's see, I can't wait till winter to do snow dyes, avoid yellow snow. Okay, I think we're going to close the bidding out here in just a minute. Gwen is at $70, which is the high bid right now, so I'm going to close it out in about 1 minute. So if anybody else wants to get in on the bidding, go ahead and put your bid in now. Otherwise, we're going to close it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, sold to Gwen. And did I say 65? Where is that at? Oh, 70. Gwen at 70. You just won a tapestry. Yay! So you can do a couple different ways to pay through this launch links I just posted. You can either send me an email through my store or through one of my Facebook pages. There's links in there. Or if you go into the MrTieDye donations and you pay the $70 plus the $7 shipping, so $77 total, you can just pay that through the donations page. Just make sure that you have your current shipping address so that I can get that in there. And then I will sign this tap and get it sent out to you. So thank you, Gwen. And then the next one, let's go ahead and get the sun started before we start putting dies on, because at that point I won't be able to break this out. So here's the Sun Tapestry, and once again in the launch links you can see the Sun Tapestry. But this is another one that we did just a little bit differently. So I got the bright yellow center and 2 shades of yellow, and then I have the sunbeams out here in the orange and little bits of red, and then it goes out into the purple, blue, and black around the sun. So the bidding is now open on Sun Tapestry number 3. So, okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. So we're going to start putting some dies on this thing here. Let's see, Mom wanted to know what's in the pouch around your neck. She suggested it was 420 items. Nope, not 420 items. Cheryl is correct. It's various stones. So I got a lot. I always carry stones with me. In fact, I even have stones sitting here on my computer. So these here are some Andera crystals. So I do have one large Andera crystal in here, and then I just have, oh, I guess I need to move out here. I have a variety of other crystals in my bag, but I love to have stones and crystals with me all the time, so the medicine bag is a nice way to carry those. I still think that is the best of the Sun Taps. Thank you. Yes, I think this one here has been my favorite of the Sun Taps. So it's just one of those things that just kept evolving within my dreams and meditations, and now we're going to see what this one here is going to do. So, okay, so I'm putting my mask on here. So I'm not going to be able to talk too much, but I'm going to start putting my dies on. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to start up here at the center of the sun, the point, with my yellows and oranges, and I'm going to bring all the way out. My fire red is going to be right here at the blue line, and then the rest of it is going to be in the violet, the power berry, and the black. So I'm just going to start sprinkling, and then we're going to get some ice put on here. I feel like Darth Vader in here. You crack me up, Saucy Mare. Okay, so this is my daffodil mixed with melted peep. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my little blockade here, just to block so I know exactly how much I'm putting on, and I'm also going to overlap it into my yellow here. Okay, orange sorbet next. fire red here. Ultraviolet is next. And I'm going to switch spoons because that has yellow on it and I don't want that in my purple. And I'm leaving just a little bit of a separation line here because this here is going to be the edge of my sun. So I just want a little bit of a separation line. I'm not sure just what that's going to do in this incline die, but I'm going to try it out and see. And this last color is Power Berry. Okay, so I'm going to put that away for just a moment here. Like I say, what we're going to do next is pile some ice on here. Well, let me get some soda ash. I soaked this here in soda ash to start with, but I always like to put a little bit of extra on just to make sure that it doesn't get diluted in there. So usually what I'll do is sprinkle it on. I've sprinkled it directly onto the dies before, and let me get my other tub. This one's got big lumps in it. I've also put it over top of the ice. So I don't know if there's one method that's better than another for this, but I just kind of do it both ways. But I just sprinkle it directly on to the die, or I sprinkle it over top of the ice. And the last few ones that I did, I sprinkled it over the ice. So I just wanted to do a little bit different this way and see if I have a different effect. Okay, we're going to call that good for the soda ash. Alright, now we're going to break out the ice. Like I say, I shaved this up yesterday with my brand new ice shaver. It did freeze into a few chunks, but I was able to break it up. I love Rainbow Warrior. Yes, I love all the Rainbow Warriors out there. Thank you all for joining me. So yeah, some of this is still in the nice fresh here, but some of it is bigger chunks. It probably would work better to shave it up as you need it, but I knew I was doing a live video and I wasn't going to try to shave ice on a live video because it is noisy and messy. So I just coat this with ice all over. And what this here is going to do, just in case there's new people watching that haven't done an ice dye, I put the dyes, powdered dyes, directly onto the tapestry, and then when the ice melts, it's going to go down in there and mix with the dyes and then drip down into the tapestry. But one of the nice things about ice dyes is some of these colors, especially like the black and different ones, they're made up from more than one color. So those individual powders in there are going to drip down in different colors. So you get some nice color mixing that goes on too. So I'm just going to keep on playing with more ice dyes here. And then, like I say, we're going to put black over top of this here also now. So let me put my mask back on, and then I should have kind of kept track down in here. Yeah, so I can kind of see my purple dye right here, the violet. So from here out, I'm going to sprinkle black in there. We got to put the mask on, and then I'm going to scroll back through the comments and see what's going on as we get set up for our dye mixing. Because then I'm going to do some liquid dye mixing on the spot. And this was my black here. Okay. And it does say better black on there, but I have a mix of 3 different blacks. I've got better black, new black, and raven black all mixed into one tub. And that's what I use for my black dyes. I like the mix of 3 of them. Okay, and now the other thing, I said I was doing an incline dye, so the way I do that is just find something to prop these up with. So I just have these dye bottles. I fill them with water so they don't tip over. And then I'm just propping them up here. Let's see if I can get in camera. So I just prop the rack up on here. And this here is a nice angle. If you get steeper, then sometimes your dye wants to slide. And if that's the... Okay, sorry. If it does want to slide down on the rack on you, I've used rubber bands to wrap around the end and then just kind of clip it to the end here. Let me see if I can show the whole thing. And I got this time delay going on, so I don't know. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. I'm going to kind of clean things up, and we're going to check in on the bidding for Sun Tapestry number 3 or 4. No, that's Sun Tapestry. So Sun Tapestry number 3 is the one that is up for bid. Oh, let me get a drink of water. Okay. So now I need to catch up with what's going on here before we move forward. So thank you guys for your patience. New guy here, I have watched so many of your videos. Though you have some awesome work, I myself just have gotten into tie-dye and have taken a lot of advice from your videos. Oh, glad to hear that, Dwayne. That's what I love to do, is help people get started, help them improve their dyes, or just inspire them to create, whether it's with tie-dye or some other medium. So, thank you for joining me, and I'm glad to be of help to you. When I had cancer, a friend gave me a healing crystal. I gave it back to her with the health when her health started to suffer. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, like I say, I use the crystals a lot in my meditations and just have them spread all around the house. Somehow I got fingerprints on my glasses here. Clean that up. So yes, I'm glad you had a crystal, but then you were able to give it back to her when she needed it. I thought about ice dyeing would use way too much dye, but since doing it really doesn't take that much, even doing both sides. Yes, that was my initial impression of ice dyeing, was it would use way too much powder, but I found that it doesn't take that much if you apply it sparingly and then add more as you need it. So I'm having fun as I'm learning here. Let's see, where do you buy your material from for tapestries? I use Sunshine Joy, and once you get to their page, it's sunshinejoy.com. You get to their page, you click the tapestries at the top of the page. That'll open up a window, and there'll be one reading for blank tapestries or white tapestries. And in there they have, I think just right now they've got 3 or 4 tapestries sizes. But in normal days, so once we get done with this, hopefully we'll go back to that. But they usually have like 6 to 8 different sizes, and yeah, they are really nice tapestries. They got these loops in the corners for hanging the tapestries, if I can find one. So yeah, they're really nice. They're a nice weight tapestry. They're sewn on 2 edges and then got a salvage edge on the other 2 edges. So, and this one here is what they call the 58 by 58. And like I say, it's Sunshine Joy. So, and once it shrinks down, then they're usually about 54 by 56 inches. I don't use shaved or chipped ice. It's so hot here, it melts too fast. Yes, I can imagine. We don't have quite the problem with that here in Oregon. So, but I have used snow before, and I like the way that went through, and the shaved ice is the closest. So I just haven't done it in a while, so I decided to buy the ice shaver and give it a try. His videos made a huge difference in my results. So glad I found him. Oh, I'm glad you found me too, Cheryl. I was using too much. Now my goal is to not see so much leftover powder after ice. Yes, that's what I'm finding, is just learning how thick to put it on. So it is a process, and I know there's a lot of just fantastic ice dyers out there that probably know way more than me on the subject of ice dyeing, but you guys said you wanted to see experiments from me, so these ice dyes, I consider them experiments, as I'm trying out either new folds or new ways of applying the ice. So we're going to keep going, and like I say, we're going to move into another video or another demonstration here of color mixing. I'll get a T twisted up for that one here in just a second. Okay, I don't think I've seen an opening bid yet. Was there an opening bid on the Sun Tapestry number 3? I don't see one. Okay, I'll keep scrolling down, but the Sun Tapestry number 3 is still up for bid. And at this point, I don't know if there's an opening bid on it. Let me scroll to the bottom and see. Nope, no opening bid on Sun Tapestry number 3. Okay. Let me see where we're at here. All the colors seem to run together for me. It was probably the way I did the dye. I've been trying more will only improve my skills. Yes, that's what it is for me. I mean, the ice dyeing is a little trickier because you don't have quite the control as you do with liquid, but some people say that they do have precise control. So I think it does take a lot of practice, and that's what I'm continuing to do. Larger blocks of powder, yep, I think that would help too. Sometimes the thinner lines, and especially when you're doing the incline dye, that's going to produce, definitely some running. But I definitely, I could talk in this instance, I do want the running of the dye, because it's going to add to the overall finishing of the tapestry. But yeah, I am going to do more where I'm just doing a straight down dye with the shaved ice and see how that works too. You should make some Muppet tie-dye shirts. I have done, I think the Cookie Monster, and I've done Elmo. So I've done those before. Those were stitched designs. See, love your work. Thank you for teaching us. You're welcome. Glad to be of help. Oh, the animal. That was another one. My lady just remembered me. The animal is one of the Muppets I did. Which tapestry are bidding on? That's Sun Tapestry number 3. Oh, thank you, Andrew, for answering that question. Glad you're enjoying it, Judy. I have fun. I look forward to Wednesdays now. Question, I haven't tried ice dyes yet, so I was wondering if I bought these little pouches from Walmart, would that work? I can't remember the brand name. It's popular here on the East Coast. That I don't know. The only dyes that I've ever used are the Procyon dyes. I know some of the kits in the store, they're the Tulip brand, and they a lot of times have the soda ash mixed in with them, but they don't produce the same colors as the Procyon dyes do. So that's something that if you already have it, you can try it out and see, but I really don't know how it's going to work with the dye kits. So thank you for your help, MrTieDye. You're welcome. Let's see. Okay, I appreciate you guys. Looks like you're answering her questions there about the tulip dyes. What is the next step once you finish the setting process? Open it up. Yes, after the ice melts, then I usually will go ahead and flip it over to look at the bottom to see what kind of color. If I get really good color coming through there, then I set it put a lid on it, and I'll let it batch for 48 hours, and then I do the rinsing and the washing. Oh, and that's something that might delay my video on Friday. I usually do my washouts on Friday, but this might push it to Saturday because I have to wait for the ice to melt. But when I flip it over and the bottom side, if it doesn't have good color on it, then I'll go ahead and if it just needs a little bit of extra, I'll put more dye and ice on the top and let it go through. But if it needs a lot of color, then I'll go ahead and flip it over and I'll add color on in the same way and put more ice and let it melt. And when I'm all done doing this video, I plan on pulling this tub back down here, and I'll set up my other camera and do a time delay on the melting of the ice, and then I'll check the bottom. So that video will be up later at some point. It might be tomorrow or the next day, but I will definitely show you the whole process of this ice dyeing with the ice melting, and then what I do with the bottom, or checking the bottom and stuff. So that'll be coming up. Black Amiga. I love your creations. Really enjoy watching. I'm glad to hear that. I'm having a lot of fun with them too. I've used tulip dyes. Hi Lois, nice to see you. Let's see. Okay, we have a bid from Ernie Cox for $65 on Sun Tapestry number 3. So I'm going to make a mark of that so I know where that's at. And that was at $243. Okay, so thank you, Ernie, for bidding on that. And yes, you have Sun Tapestry number 1. So this here will be Sun Tapestry number 3. Thank you for recommending the little bottles you use for the dyeing that are from Amazon. I ordered some and loved them. Yes, I've been using them for over a year now, and I haven't had any issues with leaking or anything. So you're welcome on that tip. Custom colors, Dave Chiders is wonderful. Personalized service. Yes, that's one of the places that I have bought some of my dyes from. I use mostly Dharma because I live on the West Coast, but I have ordered from Custom Colors. The other dye house I've used is Grateful Dyes, and they're in Colorado. So, okay, well, while I catch up on reading, I'm going to go ahead and twist up this tee. So I have a t-shirt that's been soaked in soda ash. It's been spun out so it's barely damp, and I'm going to turn it inside out And then I'm going to twist this up just in a spiral shape because we're going to do another wild spiral dye on this. And what I'm going to use are all of the colors that I mix up today, plus just some of the regular ones mixed in. But I'm going to show you how I mix dyes, and then we're going to put them right onto the t-shirt. I'm also going to do a little test sample on a piece of paper towel that I'll save so I can compare it for later. So I'm just going to twist this up real fast, just a spiral, and then we're going to move on to color mixing, and I'm going to continue to catch up on my reading here. Carl, pardon the correction, but tulip does not have soda ash in them. You can use them with or without soda ash, but the colors are way better with soda ash. Okay, thank you for that correction. Yeah, I've just heard from some other people that it had it in there, but maybe it was a different brand than the tulip. I just know a lot of those one-step kits typically have the soda ash mixed in with the dyes. But I personally haven't used them, so I'm just going by what I've heard or read from other people. So I appreciate the response back for people who do have used them or know what they're doing with them. Hey there, MrTieDye, thanks for teaching us. Got me into stitching. Actually, I have a question. When doing fine details like teeth and eyes, do you just close the distance between stitching? Yes, for that, typically on big runs, I'll use, you know, like a 1/4 inch stitch, but or maybe even upwards towards a 1/2 inch. But if I'm doing the really tiny ones that I'm doing just really tiny, I guess you can't see my finger, doing really tiny stitches for those. So just however big of a run I'm doing depends on how big of a stitch I'm doing. So yes, and good deal on doing the stitching. You're going to get a lot of detail in there where you can't get from normal folding. I really enjoyed it, but so many years of doing it, and after a wrist injury and stuff, I haven't been doing as many of the stitch designs. Let's see. Do you ever do pastel colors? If so, how long are you curing so they don't get too dark? Yes, I do pastels sometimes. Typically what I'll do is when I'm mixing pastels up, what I can do is take, you know, a bottle, well, not this one here, but if I'm taking a bottle this big, I might fill it with yellow dye just down here at the bottom, and then fill it the rest of the way with water so that it's very diluted. And then I put that on and I'll go ahead and batch for 48 hours. Another way of doing pastels, it doesn't produce quite the same results, but if you're just in a hurry and you want to do it, what I've done is I'll tie up a shirt, I'll use my regular dyes on them, you know, and it's been soaked in soda ash and everything. Put my dyes on, I let it sit for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then I go right into the washout process. Now that uses way more dye powder because most of the dye powder is getting, or the dye is getting rinsed away. Oh, excuse me, I need some more water. Most of the dye powder is getting rinsed away, so that's not the optimum way of doing the pastels. It's better to mix them up because, like I say, you can use this much dye and fill the whole bottle up and you have 4 ounces of dye for just this much of actual liquid dye. So that's the preferred method, but I haven't sat down and done all of the measurements to get the exact amounts yet. I am planning on doing a video for that, for pastels. But I've been busy with all kinds of videos, I just haven't got to them, but that is on my list. Do you use salt at all, and if so, how much? The salt, I use that sometimes. Not all the time, but the one color I do use it in all the time is my black, and I'll put 1 to 2 tablespoons of the salt into my black dyes when I'm mixing them. And the rest of the colors, I might mix in 1 tablespoon, but like I say, I don't do it all the time. So the salt is an optional thing. But it does improve the colors, I think, of the black, and then also they say on the Dharma website, the Glauber salt is supposed to help improve the colors of turquoise and any colors that are mixed with turquoise. So that was one of my main reasons for mixing it, anything that gives me brighter colors. So I used it for a while, and I just haven't been doing it lately. So I'm wearing my Dancing Bear shirt that I won from you. Coincidence. Awesome. Nice to hear that, Lois. I'm glad you enjoy it, and yes, congratulations on winning the t-shirt. Procram in Massachusetts is great. Okay, there's another dye house. I've heard of them, but I haven't purchased from Procram. But it's good to have as many different resources as possible, especially where some of the different dye houses are having shortages on dyes right now, to know just where to get your dyes at so that you can jump into this art or continue doing this art. Love stitching so far. Actually tried to make one of your Deadpool shirt. Came out amazing. I want to do the detailed stuff a little differently. Oh, is that the one that I commented on Facebook? There was one that came out, but it was the colors faded out some, but did an awesome job. So if I don't remember who did that though, I see so many people. So Roger, if that was you, awesome job on the Deadpool. Okay, so we have a t-shirt tied up. Like I say, I'm going to do a wild spiral on this, but I'm going to do my color mixing and then just start adding the dyes on here one at a time as we mix them up. So I'm going to set that aside and see if I can catch up on the chat box here before I go. Finally made it to a live stream. Welcome, Mary. Glad you made it. Thank you. I love doing the videos, and the Wednesday ones have been really fun. Love the Deadpool. Prochem ships fast. How are you so good at tie-dyeing? 20 years of practice. I've also done a lot of school events where I go in and work with a school over a week's time and help the kids, where I'm helping each one of the kids tie their shirts and explaining to groups of 25 kids at a time. I think I probably tie-dyed with 10,000 kids over the last 15, 16 years. So that would be one thing. And then I also used to do home parties, but I also sold at the Saturday market. So for 20 years, this here, well, I guess not 20 years, 16 years, I've been doing tie-dye full-time, but I have been dyeing for 20 years. So practice, practice, practice is what it takes with tie-dye to get better. Let's see, thanks. Didn't know you commented on it. Yes, on Facebook, I would have commented under my real name, Carl McClellan. So, let's see, the Tire Master is back. Hope you're having a good day. Yes, I am. Thank you, Vita Skies. He is gifted. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm ready to start mixing some colors here. So I'm going to put on my gloves, and then we're going to get started here. Is there a secret to folding? My folds are never tight or flat. Really, it's just about practicing. For me, if I'm doing, like a pleated fold and following a line like this here, the main thing I'm trying to do when I'm doing a pleated fold is just line these up. So I'm taking this line that's flat on the table and matching it up straight with this line that's coming up. So I just reach under those there and I kind of touch those lines together, and then it's just a matter of pinching that and holding that flat and just continuing to match that. And then when you're done, then it's a matter of sometimes straightening your pleats out, and sometimes you see me working with the cuticle pusher. I'll get in here sometimes and I can see some of these pleats that are laying over top of another fold. So you can kind of push that other fold back and use the cuticle pusher to adjust your folds. And so any ones that I can see that are laying over top of another fold, I'll usually go ahead and tuck those back down in there just a little bit. So it just takes practice as far as doing the folding, and then sometimes just adjusting your folds a little bit. And the more that you do this, of course, the better you're going to get at it. But it's sometimes a matter of doing some, seeing how they come out, and then making changes to it. And if you're not quite sure just what you're doing wrong on something, if you take some pictures of your folded tee and your dyed tee, the results of how it came out, and you send those to me, then sometimes I can help kind of troubleshoot and get you back on track. So if you do need to send me a picture of something, at the bottom of my launch link, so this link, launch links I put up, if you click on that, it'll open up a list of all of my social media. Down at the bottom, there's 2 of them that are, I think, labeled as messaging me on Facebook through MrTieDye or Do It Yourself with MrTieDye. You can send me pictures to those links, and then I can kind of help troubleshoot. But I do need to see, you know, what your folds look like to start with, and then what your results look like for me to be able to kind of help troubleshoot. And then if you're asking about dyes and why they're fading and stuff, I need to know what kind of dyes you're using, how long your batch process is, you know, some other details. But I usually try to help out where I can. Let's see. Okay, and we still have $65 as the high bid on the Sun Tapestry number 3, and that was Ernie who bid that. So we still have the bidding open on Sun Tapestry number 3. If you guys are interested in that, let me show you one more time here. And of course, in the launch links, the top link has the blown up pictures on my Facebook page that you can find. So this here is Sun Tapestry number 3 with the beams coming out. So $65 is the high bid from Ernie right now. Let's see. Is there a secret to fold? Okay, I answered that one. I love your shirts. Thank you. What is soda ash? Soda ash is a chemical that's used to raise the pH. It's the same chemical they use in swimming pools, so you can buy it locally. But with these types of dyes, you need a high pH to activate the dyes, which then causes them to bond with the cotton fibers. So I do a pre-soak in soda ash, but you only need just a little bit. So I spin them out so that it's mostly damp. I try to get most of the liquid out because I don't want anything interfering with the dye itself. But just soak it in soda ash leaves enough soda ash behind to activate the dyes. So, and you can buy that. The other name on soda ash is called sodium carbonate. If some places, like it's the swimming pool places, they might tell you that they have soda ash, but if you look on the label, it says sodium bicarbonate. That's baking soda, and that's not strong enough. You need soda ash or sodium carbonate. Anyone ever do a leopard print? My diamond order should get here today, so mixing 7. Oh, that's awesome. And what I'm mixing is just the liquid dyes. I have done a little bit of mixing with the powders, but mostly I do mixing. If you know somebody needs a special color, I'll mix that through the liquid, and I'm going to start that in just a second. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Cheryl, for answering questions on here. And the soda ash, you can buy that at a pool supply store. You can buy it from the dye house, and you can also buy it in the laundry aisle. There's a product called washing soda, and also I think pH Up is another one. The main thing on those, if you're buying one of those, is to look on the label and just verify that it says 100% soda ash on the label. Let's see. Is it super important to wash afterwards to stop the dye reaction? It's important to wash it just to get the excess dyes out that haven't bonded with your t-shirt, because otherwise later on when you do a washing, then those dyes are going to come out. So yes, you do need to wash it. So I batch mine for 48 hours, and then I rinse them in the sink all tied up still for about a minute, and what that's going to do is rinse away the soda ash, because the soda ash is what activates your dyes. And then I'll turn the water up to warm and cut the ties off of here and open it up and continue to rinse. And then I do 3 hot washes in the washing machine with soda ash, or with synthepol, and that's going to help encourage more of the dyes to come out, because you want all of the excess dyes that aren't attached to the shirt to be gone. So yes, that is important. Okay, so what I usually do when I'm mixing dyes is I'll start, if I'm unsure of just what the color is going to look like, I'll start with a small bottle like this, Let me get my paper towel. So we'll set that there. Let's see if I can scroll this down here. Have you ever used rubber bands instead of kite string? Yes, I used to use rubber bands, and I have this huge bag of them, and I still use it when I go into the schools and work with the kids, but I just find that I prefer kite string myself. I mean, that's a personal preference for me, but if rubber bands work for you, then I say keep using it. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind on it. I just like to show how I do things, and the kite string, just I like how I can tighten things up and get it just right the way I want it. So yes, I've used rubber bands, but I prefer kite string. This may be a dumb question, but what are you doing when doing a regular tee? Do you wash regularly, like with soap and water? When after I've dyed a tee, I'm washing them with just the other dyed tees, and I wash those in hot water, and I use Synthepol, which is a pH neutral soap. Another soap that people use if they don't want to buy the Synthepol is called Blue Dawn dish soap. It's another pH neutral soap. Other types of laundry detergents might have soda ash in them, and then that would end up activating all those loose particles of dye again, and then you might have them bonding to your t-shirt, which then causes back staining. So when you're doing your rinse out and wash out process with a freshly dyed tee, I don't recommend using laundry detergent. Use Synthepol or Blue Dawn. And if you don't have one of those, I would probably opt for just plain water over using laundry detergent. So I hope that answers your question. Is he wearing tie-dye pants? Yes, I am. I love my tie-dye pants. These are done up in rainbow colors, and I wear these out into the world. I love my full rainbow everywhere I go. Where do you buy your t-shirts at? I buy mine from sanmar.com. You need a business license to purchase through them, but a lot of people, they use Jiffy Shirts to buy their shirts from. Okay, so one of the questions I've had is about mixing your primary colors, and if I want to mix up bright green, what I do is I start out with lemon yellow. In fact, I can probably pour that. Now watch, I'll probably make a mess here. But usually what I do for bright green is I fill a bottle most of the way up with lemon yellow. And then I top it up with a little bit of turquoise. And then from there, you have bright green. So if you're using a bigger bottle, you would just use the same percentages, and you can mix up a larger bottle. And what I'm going to do is put a test drop on here. So there's my bright green. Did I get it in the window? There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and dye one of my colors on here. So this here is going to be my Wild Spiral. So I guess I made way too much of the bright green, but I can just pour that into here and we'll move on to the next color. So now if you wanted to make the green darker, you would just use more of an even batch of the yellow and the green. So, but if you want to make purple, then I would mix these half and half. So right now I'm just doing some basic color mixing, and then I will get into some more complicated colors here. So for purple, I would just mix up about half and half of the two primary colors. And this is why I recommend, if people are buying just a few colors, that you get at least the primary colors and a black, because that's going to help you in mixing your other colors. So there's my purple on there. So now we're going to put purple down next to here. Once again, I mixed too much, so I'll just pour the extra into here. Let's see. If you oversaturate your dye on the t-shirt, will it fade and not be as vibrant? No, if you oversaturate it, the colors are more likely to blend and mix together. If your shirt is coming out not vibrant, then you either didn't mix your dyes strong enough or you didn't batch long enough. So not enough of the dyes were able to bond with the t-shirt. So I batch mine for a minimum of 24 hours, but I prefer 48 hours. And also at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's too cold, then the dyes take much longer to bond, and sometimes they won't bond at all. Okay, now one question I've had, somebody asked if you can mix black to make your colors darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, let's start with fuchsia in here. So if I have fuchsia, then I will add just a smaller amount of black. So I usually will put that in the bottle and shake it up, test it. And I added way too much black there, so I'm going to add more fuchsia. So this here is usually my process of mixing colors, although I'm doing this a little faster than what I normally do. Whenever I add black, I try to add just a few drops at a time. And I think I just squirted way too much in there. Yeah, so this here is way dark, but we're going to go ahead and use it anyways. So this here is my fuchsia mixed with black, and it's coming out like almost like in a purple or a deep cherry color. So it'll be interesting to see just what happens with that. And let's get some different little bottles over here. Before I found these 4-ounce bottles, these were the bottles that I used to use. These are all from Dharma. And these are nice sizes to do sample mixes of dye in. So I'm going to mix a little bit of the turquoise in the same fashion. But this time I'm going to use my smaller black bottle here so that I can add just a few drops of black in there. Okay, let me catch up. I haven't been paying attention to the feed here. Let's see. Love the pants. I love how my tie-dye shoes turned out. Glad I decided to spray them with a waterproof spray and be done. Awesome. Yes, after I have done all the washing and drying, I usually will spray a waterproof spray on mine to finish them off. How many t-shirts do you dye daily? It depends on the day. I mean, some days I have more orders than others, and I might dye up, 10 or 15. There's sometimes where I get on a roll and I just tie up a bunch. I'll tie up 25 shirts in a day and then dye them the next day. So I don't have any exact. Some weeks I might only dye 2 or 3 shirts. I'm having trouble getting saturation with an Incline dye. The last time I used crushed ice and covered with foil and it was better, but there were still white spots showing. Any suggestions? The main thing for me, I would think, is on the ice dyes is to let your t-shirt or tapestry dry out. I mean, I'm going ahead and doing mine on a damp tapestry, but with the ice dyes, it might be better to let them dry before you actually put that on so that you don't have any liquid in there, and then hopefully that will get you better saturation. The other thing is I'm going to check this when the ice is melted, and if it looks too light on the bottom, then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add more dye to the bottom side and run it again. But what I might do to start with, if it looks light, is set it onto a towel and just let some of that excess liquid from the ice drain out, or basically soak into the tea, before I actually add the dye on the back, and I'll go ahead and do a video of that if I'm doing that. But like I say, I'm still new to the ice dyeing. I've done maybe 40 pieces compared to the t-shirts, but I've done many of thousands and thousands of t-shirts. So I'm much better at the liquid dyeing than the ice dyeing. So, but there is an ice dye tie-dye page over on Facebook, and some of them might have some better suggestions for you. Do you ever start with a dry t-shirt? I don't fold them dry. I just find it too difficult to get your folds and pleats and stuff to line up right. So I usually will fold them damp, and then I let them dry out from there. But you can, if you want to try folding a dry t-shirt, you can do that, but make sure that you have pre-washed it, and I would also recommend soaking it in soda ash, and then let it dry, and then fold it. How cold is too cold? I would say below 65 degrees. I like to let mine batch. Sometimes the temperature in the house might be down at 68 degrees, but I usually stack mine next to a heater vent. And in the summertime, I put them out in the shed so that they get some sunlight. And of course, I put a lid on my bin so they're not sitting in direct sunlight, but they are heating up in there. Okay, so my turquoise, I'm going to add just a couple more drops of black to that. It wasn't quite as dark as I wanted, so there's a few more drops. And like I say, this here is just how I usually will mix my dye. I'll mix it up and then just drip it on, and just when I get it the shade that I want it, then that's when I'll add it to my t-shirt. And let's see, I'm not going to put the blue next to the purple, so I'm going to put a line of fuchsia in there. And since this is a wild spiral tee, I don't have to go by any type of rules, so I'll just put that color on, and then we're going to put the turquoise mixed with black next to that. Okay. Let's see, I batch my stuff on the car dashboard, just about the only thing in Texas heat is good for. Yes, I love that. I wish, well, I guess it does get hot a little bit here in the summertime. We have some hot temperature like that, but anything you can do to add heat to it, the heat is going to help speed up the dye bonding in there. So some people, if they batch it really hot, then they will go ahead and wash it out sooner. I usually still will leave mine sit for the 48 hours just because, but yes, you could go ahead and batch it sooner if you have cooked it into heat good. Let's see, where are your large bottles from? The large bottles, I got these from Dharma. These ones here are much older. I have some bottles that are probably 16 years old, and then they switched to a new style where it's a little bit skinnier of a bottle. And these here, I'm not sure just what their bottles look like now. I haven't bought bottles from Dharma in quite a few years, but like I say, they last. Some of these bottles I've had for 16 years, and at most they might leak a little bit, and I'll wrap some plumber's tape around the threads, and that solves the leaking problem. Have you ever messed up on a t-shirt on a live stream before? Not a t-shirt, but I did do the crop circle tapestry. I had intended on dyeing a solid green line out, and then I forgot, and I put dark green on, and I just went with it because I figured that was the universe adding into it. So you can't cry over spilt milk. You just got to move on and go for it. Let's see, I love your videos, they're so relaxing. Glad to hear that. If I got 1 pound of the primary colors, how many shirts would I have no idea, Big Bubba. I just mix my dyes up and go for them, and when I get low, I order more. But if you order 1 pound of each of the primaries, you're going to get a lot of t-shirts. So that's usually the size that I buy in. Sometimes I'll buy my primary colors in the 5-pound jars because I use more of those than the other colors, but all the rest of the colors I buy in these 1-pound jars, and they last me a long time. So I would say that's a nice size to buy in, is 1 pound. Okay, now another color people have asked about is brown. And what I usually do, I do have a couple browns. I have a bronze and a chocolate brown that I use. But if I need to mix up a brown on the fly, I'll start with either yellow or orange. So let's go ahead and start with yellow on this one here. Oop, almost squirted that one. And then for yellow, I will add purple into that. And once again, you want to add just a few drops at a time. So I filled this bottle up about halfway. And I'm going to add 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll shake that and test it. Thank you for the videos. Hubby asked me when I get up early in the morning if I'm visiting MrTieDye. Yep, got to keep up on your studies. Alright, let's see how that did. Still too yellow, so I'm going to add some more purple. So I added 3 more drops of purple to my yellow there. And like I say, it really depends on the size of the bottle as to how many drops, but the more you do this, the more of an idea you'll get. Okay, I'm going to add 6 more drops. Maybe 7. Just to get in more into that brown. And you can see the progression. It's getting darker, but I still haven't gotten enough, so this one here I probably need to add a bunch more, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a squirt. And the more that you do this, the more of a feel you get for how much dye to put in. Okay, that's a little bit more of a tan now. So we're going to do that one more time. Good squirt. And there, that's a nicer brown. That's a kind of a tan there. So I think we're going to go with tan on this one here. And then we're going to try the same thing with orange and green, and we'll make a bigger color. But we're going to go ahead and put that tan on. Sometimes a nice tan is great. And it's nice to add some contrast. Yeah, and these bottles here, they tend to leak a little bit, so. Okay. And I'll soak up those drips. Okay, so now let's try mixing this with orange. Mixing a brown with orange here. Let's see, where do you get most of your bottles from? The big bottles I bought from Dharma. These little smaller bottles I bought from Dharma, and they have 2 different styles. They got these ones here, I think they're called Gouda bottles, and then I bought these ones here. It's a little bit bigger. I think these are 1 ounce, 2 ounce, and those are both from Dharma. If you search for metal tip bottles on Dharma, you'll find a link to both of these. And then these larger bottles here, those ones I bought on Amazon. They're a 4 ounce bottle, but they still have this nice metal tip on them. And there is a link on some of my different video pages, but I'll try to remember to put a link on this one here about these bigger bottles. These ones here have been really nice. I haven't had any issues with these leaking on me. So, okay, so now I'm starting with orange, and I'm going to mix in green. The other color you can mix in with the orange to get a brown is purple. So, but I'm going to mix in some green. I'm just going to give it a squirt. Let's see. My friend batches her stuff in her car in the summer because she lives in Florida. Yes, that's an excellent location to batch because you're going to get good heat. Oh, let me put a sample drop over here. So yeah, this one here I got a nice brown out of that. So we're going to put this on the other side. And I'm not for sure that I can pick out each one of these colors when we're all done washing and stuff, but hopefully by saving this thing here, maybe I better put a little X next to the ones that I actually used. Yeah. Okay. So there's couple ways of mixing your browns from the oranges and yellows. Let's see. Oh, let's mix yellow with black. It kind of gives it makes the yellow into a dirty color, but sometimes that's nice. So I'm going to add just a few drops of black to my yellow. Okay, so that was about 4 drops in that half an ounce there. Yeah, so then it gives my yellow kind of a greenish tinge to it, but it darkens that yellow up, but not in a nice sunshiny way. So, but it's fun to just see what the different colors do on here. Yeah, all of these bottles need a little bit of work to them because they're all drippy. I don't use these smaller bottles much, but I thought they would work perfect for doing this mixing here. And let's see, what else do we want to do here? Oh, I've also darkened my turquoise up to a nice blue by adding fuchsia to it. So we're going to mix half a bottle of the turquoise, and we're going to add some fuchsia. Now, if you add half and half, you're going to get purple, but if you add just a little bit, so I'm going to just fill the bottle up to about there. It's hard to see here, but I'm just giving that just kind of a good squirt in there. Shake that up, and we'll see. Okay, now I'm going to put regular turquoise down right next to it just so you have a comparison. So this here is the regular turquoise, and this is the turquoise with just a little bit of fuchsia squirted into it. So that makes for a nice blue on the t-shirt there. Let's spin this around and keep going here. So we're going to put the darker blue over here. So this is a way that if you have just the primary colors and black, you can mix up some other colors. Because if you want to get brown, then you mix up your orange and then add a little bit of the green to it. So you'd mix up 2 secondary colors and then add those together to get your green or your brown. So you can do a lot with just the primary colors, or you can expand your color base of what you have by mixing up some additional. The other thing you can do is just darken or lighten a color. So if you wanted to start with purple, let me rinse this bottle out. Okay, sorry about that. So what I did is I filled up the bottle halfway with just plain water. So I'm making a lighter purple. So let's put a drop of regular purple on. And then if I put just a few drops in here, or a little bit of a squirt, then I've mixed up a lighter shade of the purple. So we'll put that on right here. So you can lighten your colors or you can darken your colors just by playing around with them, and having a white paper towel to put your little drops on is going to help with that. So let's see. Do I have any color requests? Does anybody have a color that they've been trying to mix? And I'll see what I can do here. Let's see. Do you have a good mixing chart you could share, like how you mix your colors? Nope, I don't have a mixing chart. Like I say, this here is how I do my color mixing. I just kind of do it on the fly. When I need to darken or lighten a color, or I want a blue-green, then I'll just mix things up and I test on a piece of paper towel. I know there probably are some mixing charts out there. I'm just not an exact type of person. I like to kind of be random and just go with the flow of things. It does make things difficult when somebody says, oh, I like that color, I want that color, and then I have to try to remix it and I didn't keep any kind of notes. Back in the day, I used to keep notes, and now I'm just kind of a random. So I apologize for that, but not really, because that's just who I am. What is Dharma? That's the name of a company. It's called dharmatradingcompany.com. And if you look them up, they sell all of the different dye products. They sell different painting. They have lots of different craft items that they sell, and they sell a lot of different types of white clothes for people to dye. So Dharma is a really nice company. They're based out of California. So for me, it works nice because I live in Oregon on the West Coast. So shipping is decent price and pretty fast to me. I know sometimes people on the East Coast, they don't get the same type of service out of Dharma just because they live further away and the shipping costs what it costs. So anyways, I like Dharma. I've been using them for 20 years. It's place, yep. Thank you guys for answering questions. You've probably answered this a million times, but I'm new to your channel, so I'll ask again. What type of fabric or brand of tees do you use, and where do you get them? Also, what fabric for tapestries? So the brand of tees I use, they're called, let me figure out what color I want in there. I think I'm going to put yellow, and then we're going to flip this over and do some more color mixing. I use the Gildan Ultra tees. They're a 6.1 ounce t-shirt, so a nice heavy weight. I like them because they last longer, and they seem to be pretty consistent in their sizing. So if somebody, I did a lot of selling at the Saturday market, and when somebody walked in my booth, it was nice to be able to, somebody to say I normally wear a large t-shirt, and they could pick a large t-shirt off my rack and it would fit. So I use those for my t-shirts, my dresses and stuff. I usually buy those through Dharma. My tapestries I buy from sunshinejoy.com. And once you get to their page, you can click on the banner at the top where it says tapestries. The window will open up and there's a blank white tapestries. You click on that and it'll take you over and show you, I think they have 4 different sizes right now that they sell. Okay. What is the most amount of dye and colors you've used on one t-shirt? Probably between 20 and 24 colors. Barn red. Let's see if I can picture what barn red looks like. I think that the barn red has a little bit of orange in it, doesn't it? It's more, it leans into like a scarlet. So let me, yeah, I think I can use this dye bottle here. So I'm going to start with, yeah, let's start with red first. And then I'm going to add orange to that. And I think I'm going to go about half and half because the red is a really bright color. And it'll take a little bit for the orange to show through that. So we're going to add some more yellow or more orange. Usually what I do for colors, if I am mixing up a specific one, I'll use the internet, call up a color, and granted you get like several different shades. You know, if I put in barn red, I would probably get more consistent, but if you put in teal or something like that, you get lots of different options. So anyway, so this here is how I would mix it up. I would just kind of figure out what color, and sometimes it's just going with, you know, what my initial impression. If I look at something, I can kind of sometimes look and say, oh, that needs this color, that needs that. Sometimes it's not quite that easy, and I'll look at something and I have no idea how to get the color that I'm actually looking for. But I see it sometimes as the challenge. So that's what I'm going to call my barn red. Midnight blue. For midnight blue, I would probably add, if I was starting with just turquoise, let me rinse this here out. So if I was starting, I mean, I could start with my sapphire just to go from there, but let's go ahead and start right from a primary color. So I would start with turquoise to start with. too many colors sitting around here. And then I think I would add fuchsia to that to get it into this blue color. And then I would add black into that to darken it up a little bit more. Now let's see how we did. Yeah, so that's, I could probably go darker with that. Just a little bit more black. But that fuchsia kind of darkens it up because it's trying to work it towards purple. If you do half and half, you're going to get purple. But by stopping before you get to the purple, it just makes a dark blue. And then the black is going to then darken it up from there. Okay, so let's go with that for our midnight blue. So like I say, this here mixed straight from turquoise. I added probably half of the bottle of turquoise, and then I did a quarter of the bottle in fuchsia, and then I did 2 squirts of black in there to get this blue out there. Okay, I've been planning a shirt with lots of greens. I'm having trouble figuring out an olive green. You came close to what I was looking for already though. Okay, the olive green that I did on that Mandela shirt, that one I actually started with, I think I had a sage green that I started with, but let's start out with just a regular green. Okay, so this here is emerald green. Is that a color that you might have? If not, then you could, okay, let's go ahead and just start right from our primary. Let's build it up from there and see what I can do with. So I'm going to go half and half. I'm going to probably use a little bit more turquoise than the yellow because I want it to be a darker green. So let me first see how this green looks. Okay, so that one there is looking kind of like a Kelly green. So I'm going to darken a little bit more with turquoise. I'm going to add some black to that to start our darkening process. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of orange because the olive green leans kind of like into the brown tones. And I know that orange and green make brown, so I'm going to add a squirt of orange in there. Okay, let's add another squirt of orange. And sometimes I get all the way done and I have no success with what I'm going for. And I just pour out, and that's why it's nice to start out when you're doing the test mixing. If you're doing it in the smaller bottle, then if you have to throw something away, it's just 1 ounce of dye. But a lot of times I can mix that up, and if I pay attention to how much of each color I'm putting in there, then when I go into a larger bottle, then I can kind of reproduce those same things. So that's where you might want to put little lines on your bottle so you have an idea of how much you're adding, or count how many drops you put in, and then you can double or triple or quadruple that. Okay, I'm going to call that a green, and it's probably just a little bit darker than that other green that I did, the one on the Mandela shirt, but we're going to call that my olive green. So, I still got more of that. We'll figure something to do with that. Let's see. I'll see if I have any other colors. And I don't know if we've gotten any other bids. I haven't paid attention. So if I call out the top bid and you guys have placed a bid, but right now what I see is Ernie has bid $65 for the Sun Tapestry number 3. So if anybody else wants to place the bid on the Sun Tapestry, go ahead and get that in, because I'm going to close that out probably by the time I finish dyeing this up. So let's see. I think someone requested midnight blue. Okay, I did the midnight blue. This is extremely helpful. I'm glad. Yeah, Snoopy's house is barn red. Cool. My head went there. Sorry. Golden yellow. Is that yellow and brown? Golden yellow, I would mix that with orange. So for golden yellow, I would start with lemon yellow. And then I would add some orange to that. And if you have just primary colors, well, let's go ahead and do that. Let me get the smaller bottle of fuchsia though. So you just need to add smaller amounts of this. So I'm going to add just a couple drops at a time and see how that does. But this here is how I mix my golden yellow, is I will add just orange to that. But since we're doing primary color mixing here, so there was 2 more drops. And then, like I say, you get that golden yellow. So that compared to lemon yellow. So this here is what we started with. And this here is what we got by adding 4 drops of orange to about a ½ ounce of dye there. So let's put that on right here in the middle. So actually I added fuchsia to that, but you can add orange if you got orange. But just a couple drops in there give me a nice golden yellow. Okay, so do pink and green make brown? In some cases, I guess it really depends on what green that you are mixing with. I have mixed green and pink, or green and fuchsia, and gotten more of a purpley color. But if you mix green and red, or green and orange, you're going to get brown. But let's go ahead and start with fuchsia in here. And then we'll add some green to that. Okay, that was about 16 drops of green dye in there. Yeah, see that? It's wanting to lean towards brown, but it's giving me more of a purpley color in there. So we're going to go ahead and just add that in. Yeah, it's like a winey color there. So that was just a little bit, but if we mix it stronger, if we mix it half and half. So here's my fuchsia again. And then let's mix about half and half green. Yeah, that looks like it might be brown, but let's see what we get here. It looks like it's more of a dark purple than a brown. Yeah, so I think the orange and green is going to give you a better brown than the pink and the green. But maybe let's try adding a little bit of yellow to that, because yellow and fuchsia give you red. So if we add a little bit of yellow in there, and then there is more of a browny color now. So let's put a little bit of that on there. So yes, there we go with the pink and green with a little bit of yellow. So much makes brown. Yes, it does. But knowing which things make brown helps you then lay your colors on better. Let's see. I think someone said purple and yellow. Yep, that makes the brown. Just so I'm clear, is a wild spiral the name that because you do it as you please, or the fold itself? It's because of how I dye it. It's just a regular, however I twist up my spirals. That's all I've done, is I've just twisted this up normal. But then by putting the colors on in different places, so like the top and the bottom don't have the same colors on them, so I just kind of nicknamed it the Wild Spiral. I think it was something that I was playing with 8 or 9 years ago and just came up with that name. And it's been a lot of fun. I've done tapestries and I've done t-shirts. So I do have, in my super spiral video, I did 8 different ways of dyeing the spiral. I did one of the wild spirals in there, and then I did do a live video of wild spiral, wild spiral tapestries. But yes, it's just a name I gave to it because of the way that the dyes are applied, just kind of randomly and all over the place. Purple and bright pink. Purple and bright pink is going to just make a more of a purpley, a winey color of pink in there. So let me try that out here. Okay, you said bright pink, so the way that I make bright pink is I take my fuchsia and I water it down. So I went ahead and started, well, too much water. Oh, not enough water. Okay, so I went ahead and added just plain water in here to start with, and now I'm going to add about the same amount of fuchsia, maybe a little bit less, and that's going to give me my bright pink. Still too dark, but anyways, it's just going to then change the color of the purple. It's going to give it more of a winey type color to it, a pinky color. So we'll just fill that the rest of the way up with purple. And this here then gives me, you can see the more winey color. It almost looks like when I mixed the green and the pink. So it just lightens that color up a little bit. Okay, so we got space for one more color in here. Probably need a light color of some sort, so I'll see what other requests there are. Let's see. So I missed so much. My dog's misbehaving. Sorry about that, Kirsten. Once I'm all done with this, then the video will process and automatically upload, and then you can watch it. We've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes so far, so another long video. I'm going to try to wrap this up soon. Well, in fact, I don't have much left to do here. I'm soon to be saved. Yes. Oh, good. My first time touching it live. Nice to see you, Carla. I'm way behind on my things here. Let's see if I can catch up. Thank you, Julie. Let's see. Free Wild Spirit. Yep. Welcome, Carla. I think I'm seeing back at you, Carl. Thanks. Yes. MrTieDye. Yep, that's MrTieDye commenting there. Have you ever accidentally dyed your t-shirt that you're wearing? Yes, I usually end up with tiny little spots on it, and they usually then kind of blend in, but I try to wear older shirts, but sometimes I sit down and I have a new shirt on and I don't realize it until I've splattered dye on myself. When is the reveal? I'll do the reveal. Normally I do them on Friday, but this one might be pushed to Saturday because we have this ice dye, and I need to wait until the ice melts and then check the bottom. So that might delay the reveal, but I will do a reveal video for this as soon as I'm ready to wash them out. so glad I found you today. My afternoon has been spent watching your videos and getting inspired. Awesome. Thanks for sharing your expertise and creativity and being such a great guy. You're welcome, Marissa. I'm glad that you made it, and I'm glad to be able to inspire you and everybody else. Needs bright yellow. Yes, I think you're right. I think that's what we need to do. Let's see. Well, let's go ahead and mix. We'll do a bright yellow mixed with orange this time. Okay, so this time we'll just mix it with orange. The last time we did fuchsia and I add a little bit more, but with the orange, a little bit less of the fuchsia just because it's stronger, but with the orange I can add more. And I'm just about out of testing spots here. Yeah, that gives me another nice bright orange. So this one here is a little bit more of an orangey color. So I think that is perfect to finish this one off. Okay, so there's the wild spiral dyed with almost all mixed colors. I think I put a couple of other solid colors in, but all of these have been mixed. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this little paper towel so that we can try to compare and find some of these colors, see how we did. Let's see. Thank you, Julie. MrTieDye, yes, thank you. I agree with the bright yellow. Okay, so we got the bright yellow in there. And I think we're going to call this good now here. So this here is going to sit in batch. Like I say, I'm going to set up a camera and record, do a time lapse on my ice dye over here. And then I'll check the bottom and that video will be up so you guys can see. No, the video won't be live. It's just whenever I do my washing, I will go ahead and set up and record it, and then I will get that posted. Usually it's posted on Fridays, but this one might be posted on Saturday, just depending on how my ice dye comes out. So, but I will post that up there and refer to the Incline Sun Tap 4 and the Wild Spiral color mixing t-shirt. So, oh, hello Gretchen, nice to see you. So I don't know, I don't think I had any other bids. I'm going to take a quick scroll back, but right now the high bid that I have seen is from Ernie for $65 for the Sun Tap number 3. So if anybody else wants to place a bid, go ahead and place that now, but I'm going to take a quick scroll back and see if there was any other bids. And then after that, we're going to congratulate a winner, and then I'm going to close this video out because we're heading towards 2.5 hours. And it's time for everybody to get back on with their day. Okay. I'll try to go all the way back to the bid that I know about, and that was at $243. Okay, yes, so Ernie Cox bid $65 on Sun Tap number 3. And I'm going to check now for other bids. But if you want to get another bid in on the Sun Tap, now is the time to do it, because I'm going to close that out in about a minute. And then we might end up phasing out the auction part if you guys... if I've saturated the market with my tapestries, I can phase out this part of doing the auctions. It was just something that I had mentioned, I think, on my first video, that I was going to auction it off on Facebook. And I had a bunch of people on YouTube say that they don't go to Facebook. So that's why I started doing the auctions here. But they've been a lot of fun. But if you guys are done with them, we can just stick to the tie-dye-in. So let me see. I don't see any other bids. Okay, well, thank you guys all for joining me for another edition of Wednesdays with MrTieDye. I sure look forward to these days, and I have so much fun creating these tapestries and chatting with everybody, and I love to see the interaction you guys do. Somebody asks a question and somebody will help answer the question before I get to it. So that's always nice. I love to see the people helping, and especially over on the tie-dye pages. It's just wonderful to see a community like this that prefers to help each other. So that's really nice. And I also live in a community that helps each other. I live right across from the mailboxes, and people will leave canned foods and stuff over there, and slowly it goes away, and then the next day there will be more food there. So it just makes a world community when we look to help each other out in whatever way that we can. And one of the ways that I try to help out is by sharing my knowledge of tie-dye, because this art can be a little bit tricky to get into. So when I was called to service, this is the way that I decided to do it, is to be of service and help people learn this art. Okay, I'm not seeing any other bids. Let's see. You can always do live on Wednesdays. Oh, I don't know if I can wait that long to open these. We love these videos. Thanks for your tips. You're welcome. Thank you for another great live video. You're welcome. I appreciate you guys. Did an Incline dye last weekend and tagged you via Twitter. Oh, I'll have to go over. I don't get on to Twitter much, but I'll go over there and check that out. Thank you, Derek, for letting me know. Saucy Mare, yeah, time for bed. I know it's late where you're at. 11:50 p.m. Thank you for staying up and hanging out with me on Wednesdays. Thank you, Allison. I'm glad you're enjoying these. You're welcome, Alan and Mary and Black and me. Let's see, where can I find your email? We have further questions. Let's scroll down. Here's a link. I'm pasting it right now in there. You can either message me through my website or scroll down to the bottom, and there's 2 Facebook links where you can message me directly. And you can also send pictures. If you have something that didn't turn out the way you like it or want it, you can send me pictures and I can try to help you troubleshoot it. But those links, it's in the launch links. Just scroll to the bottom of the page there. Enjoyed every minute. I hope to get one of your bigger creations. Awesome. Bigger by how big? I might start trying to do some of the 58 by 90 tapestries. I did sell one wild style tapestry that was that size. You've been great to help with tie-dye adventures in quarantine. Awesome. I am enjoying this and helping. You know, there's so many people that are home. I love to help entertain the crowd. This is my Rainbow Warriors. I'm entertaining my Rainbow Warriors. Yes, I love you guys. Let's see. Such a highlight to my week. Can you show us how to make a heart design? I do have a video on the heart. If you just search my channel, tie-dye heart, there'll be a few different things come up. There's one that's just a plain heart. There's a double heart. And then there's also a dress where I put hearts along the bottom on there. So yeah, just search on my channel for heart or tie-dye heart and you'll find it. Do you rinse in warm or cold water? I start out by rinsing in cold water to rinse away the soda ash, and then I turn it up to warm and continue to rinse, and then I wash in hot water with Synthepol. And I do have a video on my site. You can look up washing your tie-dye, and there's a video then for how I do my whole washout process. Oh, thank you, Mary. Yes, there is a video on it. So long, fellow Rainbow Warriors. See you next Wednesday. Yes, we will see you guys. Heart has several videos. Yep, good day. Thank you. That size would be a great size. Okay, I will add in the bigger size tapestry, at least one of those for next week when I do these. I just need to come up with a design. I'll probably sit in meditation. Let's see. Good evening. It was fun. Glad to hear it. Thanks so much. Okay, people. I love you all. Peace, love, laughter, or peace, love, light, and laughter. That is what I love to say. Namaste. I love you all. You guys go out there. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And I will get a reveal video up for these as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys all again next week. Thank you and bye. Peace out. Oh, and I love you and happy anniversary, Mom and Dad.